Hey coders, welcome to SwiftUI series. In this series, we'll explore everything from beginner concepts to more advanced SwiftUI features. And today, we're starting with an introduction to SwiftUI. We'll walk through setting up a SwiftUI project, understanding the views, modifiers, and stacks, as well as build a very simple layout. Let's dive on it. So if you want to open up Xcode to follow along, you can create a new project either by pressing this button here, go to the top of your screen, Xcode, File, New, Project. Once you've done that, please go ahead and select the iOS template here, as well as the app application for our template. You can hit Next. We can give our project a name, so if you want to call it SwiftUI Demo or My First SwiftUI App, up to you. You can set your team and organization identifier. Under your interface, make sure it's set to SwiftUI. Make sure your language is set to Swift, and your testing and storage are set to none. Once that looks correct, you can take a second to make sure yours looks like mine. You'll probably just have, these three options will probably be different for you, and you can go ahead and press Next. Now you can save your project on your computer. So for me, I'm going to save it under my Swift and Xcode examples here. And I'm going to make sure that the Git repository on my Mac is not selected, as we don't need to worry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Create. Cool, if this is your first time in Xcode, I just wanna make you aware of the Project Navigator. So it's on the left side of the screen here. You might not be able to see yours if it's hidden. You just have to open up these drop-down menus. So make sure the folder is selected. And you can go and select the content view here. And this is where we have our main kind of app set up right now. We have a few things. We have our SwiftUI being imported. We have a little bit of code that's been given to us. So we have a structure of content view. We have a variable body for some view, a VStacks that handles any elements stacking up and down here. We have an image, which has that globe, and we also have some text that says hello world. We are using a preview, which allows us to kind of, instead of running the simulator every single time, it allows us to kind of see on this right side of our screen here what our app looks like in real time. And the nice thing is, even if we go ahead and make some adjustments on our string, so from hello world, I say hello Swift UI, you can see that it updates pretty much immediately. So that's pretty cool. So what we can do is, you can already see on our image that we do have some modifiers, but let's go ahead and add our own modifiers to our text to really make our UI our own and change it how we want. So if we ever want to add properties or change how something looks, we can use the period and begin to type out our code here. So in this case, maybe we'll change the font. So we can go ahead and start typing out font, and you can even see that there are some suggestions. I'm just going to hit return, and it's going to give us font with some parentheses. And here we can select what we want it to be. So if I do dot and I change it to be large title, you'll notice that our font gets a lot bigger. If we did something like footnote, it'd be a little bit smaller. Well, let's make it to that large title so we can see it. But this allows us to change the sizing of our font. We can also change the color by changing the foreground style. So foreground style. And within here, we can add a color. And then we can use the period again to access the different properties or the different colors. I'm going to change mine to be red. We can see hello SwiftUI is now red. We could even see the background of the text and see what that looks like. So if we do dot background, and again, we can change our color. Let's make it blue this time, so it'll pop. Well, that's a little bit cursed. Maybe I'll do gray. We can also change the kind of radius of the background here. So if we do dot corner radius, and we give it a number. So in this case, if we did 25, you notice that the background kind of has a little bit more of that, rounded pill shape. If we do want to add padding between any of the elements, we can do so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some padding between our foreground style and our background. So I'm going to do dot padding. And you can either choose how large you want your padding to be, or you can just set it to be empty. And now we have a little bit of space, allowing our background to kind of be a little bit bigger. If we change this padding number to be 10, notice that it kind of shrinks. If it's 25, it's even bigger. So we're just going to leave our padding at 0. It seems to be giving quite a bit of space to our Hello SwiftUI, and it also pushes that globe up a little bit. When you're working in SwiftUI, you'll be using a lot of padding in order to make your UI not feel too kind of clustered or too condensed. SwiftUI uses stacks to arrange views in rows, columns, or layers. The main types are HStack for horizontal alignment, VStack for vertical alignment, so up and down, and ZStack for layering views on top of each other. Let's try them out. So for our VStack here, let's kind of see how that works. What we can do is we can add another image. A cool way to add images is by going to the object library in the top right, and you can select the images under the symbols here. So it kind of looks like a little star, and we can select on that for symbols. We can type in anything we want. So maybe we want a trash bin. I'm going to grab this trash.fill, and we can actually even just drag it and drop it onto our code, and you'll see that we have the little image here. Let's go ahead and set the image scale to be .large to make it a little bit bigger on our screen, but we can kind of see that we have this vertical stack of things. At the very top we have our globe. It's the first thing in our VStack code. We then have our text, which is right underneath, and underneath that is our trash bin. So whatever order we have these items in, if I were to Command X, make some space at the start here, and Command V to paste, you'll see that our trash can's now at the top. So whatever's at the top of your VStack is first, and then everything else would be below it in a sequential order. Cool, let's add an HStack now below the VStack to arrange text elements side by side. So I'm just going to make some space in our code here, and I'm going to go ahead and type out capital H stack, and then I'm going to add some braces, and we can make some space. Let's kind of see how this HStack works. So maybe we'll add some text here, and on this one we'll say left. We'll make it a little bit bigger, so let's change our font. And I love just using the autofill features here on Xcode. They make my life so much easier and so much quicker. And then let's add another bit of text, and we'll call this one right. Do the capital R there, and we'll have a dot font. We'll also make this dot large title. So you can see as we add those elements, instead of going from top to bottom, they're kind of going side by side. And we can kind of see as we add even more text, we can even add this one in the middle here. It kind of puts them in order, going from left to right. So this was large title, I believe. Pretty cool stuff. Finally, let's talk about the ZStack. So just like with the HStack, we can type that out. We can add our brace and add a little bit of space. And this is to layer multiple views on top or behind one another. And it's also really good for adding background elements. So if we go ahead and add our color, and let's make this dot gray. And we can also change our opacity as well. It's a little hard to kind of see things here. So if we change our opacity and we set it to be a double, let's have it be 0.2, maybe 0.4. It's a little bit easier to see here. Then we can also ignore all the edges. So what we can do is dot edges, ignore safe area, and we can set that to be dot all. Just in case you're working on a different simulator, what that's going to do is it's going to extend the background to whatever area it can go to. Then we can add some text here. So let's go ahead and say SwiftUI stacks. We can change the font. Large title. Add some padding. background color, and let's change that to be color blue maybe. So you can see we can use these ZStacks in order to stack elements on top of one another, whereas if we're working with vertical or VStacks up and down, horizontal, left and right. So just as a recap, VStack, great for arranging views vertically, HStack, useful for aligning items side by side, and ZStack, perfect for layering views, so when adding background color or placing images behind text. Totally up to you. You can use these within others, so you can have a VStack, and within that VStack you can have items that have the HStack property. So if we were to look at our image globe here, maybe if we add an HStack here and wrap both of these elements within the HStack, you'll see that our globe now goes right beside our Hello SwiftUI. You don't always have to just use the preview. You can, of course, use the simulator as well. So if you want to press the play button in the top left or Command R to build the preview, and we'll be able to kind of see how our app looks and runs on a phone. But the kind of preview here does a really great job of allowing us to see those changes and everything that we make on the fly without us having to run our app continuously. So while that's loading up, I just want to say thank you for watching our video on SwiftUI. We've set up a new project, explored some views, modifiers, and stacks. We used the preview to see our design in real time. SwiftUI makes creating UIs fast and intuitive. In the next video, we're going to be diving deeper into building interactive elements. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more SwiftUI content. Until next time, dream big and code bigger. Also, you can see our little SwiftUI app on the phone screen here, which is pretty cool. It's not like the best looking UI, don't judge me, okay? It's just a tutorial, guys, come on. But you can use the simulator to interact with your application too. Pretty fun stuff. So, take care.